Our trip continued with a ferry from Amalfi to Salerno, where we rented a car and headed inland away from the coast. Our route took us south into the region of Basilicata, the arch of the Italian boot.
Matera was one of the more relaxing places we stayed.
It was definitely a beautiful city. The old architecture and the surrounding countryside was just really spectacular.
And it was very cool to see how these Italians lived in Sassi caves.
Matera is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, dating back as early as 10,000 BC. The original inhabitants lived in caves which were expanded to form homes that housed not only people but also their animals. The Sassi were emptied by the Italian government in the 1950s due to disease and living conditions, which came to be known as the Shame of Italy. A short hike through the regional park to the opposite side of the ravine, there are beautiful views of the Sassi.
It was pretty fun going around looking for kitties too.
There's a labyrinth of winding staircases and passageways.
We explored the city a lot.
Actually, we stayed in Sassi Cave during our 2-night visit to Matera.
Fresh fruit in the room that we definitely took full advantage of. Definitely different staying in the cave with the toilet with the wooden flush. It was Easter when we were there, so they had a little bit of Easter bread, but every morning they had the most amazing spread of things.
They focused on serving as much locally sourced foods as possible, which was a great way to try regional specialties.
The spring vegetables are in season. We had some really tasty artichokes there as well. Egg dropped in the garden.
Black pizza that was yummy.
Dried peppers that were fried, crispy.
They were sweet, a little tiny bit spicy, a little bit bitter, and it was really good. We had a good time there.
Bari was kind of a fun city. Had LA vibes a little bit because there were a lot of palm trees and it was on the coast.
It's also really spread out with distinct neighborhoods.
They had some really tasty food there, didn't they, Ellie?
Yeah, they had great focaccia. Nice, thin, crispy focaccia with olives and tomatoes on them.
Yeah, that was really good.
And there was a line for tourists and a line for locals.
Like most of Italy, there are distinct pasta shapes and dishes from the region.
Saw the grandmas making the orecchiette pasta in the alleyways. It's very interesting how they make that orecchiette with just that little serrated paring knife, and they go so fast with it.
While Bari is on the coast, it isn't really famous for its beaches like nearby towns to the south. Walking along the marina is great on a nice day.
And we also tried pasta all'assassina, the murderer's pasta. You don't stir it when you cook it, so it said only a murderer can cook it.
It's very tasty pasta.
Nice and crispy.
One of the best ways to enjoy the culture and food of a region is to take a cooking lesson with a local. We spent an evening with a Bari native learning about life in Bari while preparing and eating both Orecchiette and Focaccia Barese. We enjoyed wine from her family vineyard and olive oil from her family farm.
That was a fun lesson.
Bari is a great spot to base your Apulian adventures along the Adriatic.
Overall, we had a great time.
From Bari, we headed north into the Abruzzo region about 2 hours east of Rome.
20 years ago, there was a big earthquake, and they're unfortunately still under construction.
We stayed in a small town called Santo Stefano di Sassanio, which had already suffered from depopulation prior to the earthquake.
I mean, it's a beautiful town. It's unfortunate what happened there. Yeah, we had a nice rustic place to stay again, and we took a nice hike to Rocco Colascio, and the views when we went on our hike were amazing.
There's a spider web of narrow country roads and footpaths that cut through the fields, across hillsides, and over ridges with views to the snow-capped mountains. Outside of the towns, there are very few vehicles, and very few people for that matter. We walked about 10 miles or 16 kilometers or so, stopping at Rocco Colascio, which is a 10th century stone watchtower.
And then at the top, we saw a bunch of clouds.
There were a lot of clouds, but we could still see the valleys.
Yeah.
Just below the watchtower is Refugio della Rocca, where we enjoyed one of the best lunches of the entire trip. It was the 40th birthday of a local priest, and there was a large celebration there.
I had really good ravioli.
I got a wild boar ragu, possibly one of the best dishes that I had there.
The area is famous for its red wine, lamb, and mutton,
Lentil soup.
and hobbit-like cantinas full of treasure.
Thanks for watching. We hope we see you next time. Ciao!